Lane gets out of that situation. Didn't get much off of this. It's gonna be Leave who gets Caribbean. The Death Blossom has been unleashed from Jinmu. They lost Gaga in that fight, but the Transcendent is gonna keep the Hunters rolling, control this next corner. Well, that's not gonna help enable this dive, keep Rio up alive. Choice of One popping up with a 3K. Okay, we got our eyes on you, Choice of One. They're gonna be able to take control over this point. Some help, and no one was there. Now, you currently have the Hunters winning in, having the advantage, having the number advantage, and Monk is popping off. You talk about the Zenyatta and the amount of damage coming out, Josh. Taro Cookie has that Deadeye. You want to look up for that, but it's a Primal coming in from Rio, finding Leave and Nisha, isolating everybody in that room. Now it's Taro Cookie's turn, but he doesn't want to overextend here. He already got 3 from the Hunters.
All right, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Achilleos here alongside Avril. We'll be guiding you through our third and final series of the evening. We have the Chengdu Hunters going up against the Guangzhou Charge. And we'll see what kind of damage Guangzhou can deal. Hasn't been the strongest season from them. Obviously, Chengdu Hunters looking pretty good as of late. But we'll see what happens here, because you never know what you're going to get when it comes down to the Hunters, do you?
Well, you never know what you're going to get, apparently, in the Countdown Cup, because this stage, this tournament cycle has been wild. You have, excuse the spoilers, but you've had some time to watch this now, so whatever. But you Vancouver's a winning team, apparently. Shanghai suck, apparently. I don't know, Fusion's good now after kind of struggling for most of the season. The only thing that's actually stayed consistent this entire season, this entire stage, is that Sato still drinks from a 2-liter bottle of unspecified liquid. That's about it. Right now, anything can happen. Anything can work. Maybe Chengdu are not going to be that second-place team from the tournament. Maybe Charge could actually do it. I don't know anymore.
I mean, it would be a really deep run, but in the 11th hour. But hey, you would love to see it, especially if you're a Charge fan out there. Something to really root for, something to get behind. I mean, hell, if the Titans could do it, by golly, why can't the Charge? We'll have to see if they get it done here. I mean, obviously, there's no breadsticks on the line for this one, but I don't know, dim sum. I don't know the regional foods of Guangzhou, to be perfectly honest. So we'll just, something for everybody. Why not? Go and order some nice Guangzhou regional foods to celebrate.
Exactly.
But yeah, things have been getting absolutely crazy, and I should say that I'm a man of my word, so I made that tweet earlier. I have contacted Changshik. I have to reach out and try to get in touch with Teru, though, but I am planning to take them to dinner to celebrate their win, since they can't do it with their team. So don't worry, guys. It's going to happen. I don't know when. Maybe after the season, but we'll make sure that we get there. But yeah, back in onto this series. Another big question that we kind of have outside of just how are things going to go is, what Chengdu Hunters lineup are we going to see? Because they showed us, in the last split, that they are very willing, even when it's a bit of a head-scratcher, to change up the roster. So let's go ahead and take a look at the starting 6. And this is going to be pretty much the usual suspects. We will not be seeing Yubeltal as of right now. We've got Monk and Nisha there to lock down that support lineup.
So there were some questions regarding Chengdu's starting lineup in terms of, will we see, most importantly here, Jinmu, because if you'd pay attention to some of the Chengdu socials and some of the stuff happening on the Chengdu socials, Jinmu went on a bit of a vacation and he got caught in a bit of quarantine and a bit of lockdown, and there was some doubts about whether he could actually make it back in time to home base in Chengdu with the team to actually play in their first week. You see him on the screen right now. He's obviously here. He's in the same room. So that fear has been subsided. Chengdu will be playing with their A team, with their entire, starting lineup here. Whether Nisha plays or Yubel plays is a bit of a mystery. I think both plays bring extremely high value. So I would almost consider this to be like a starting 7-man roster, just because both main supports have been getting pretty equal game time.
Yeah, I mean, it had been a really long time since we'd seen Yubeltal, but then they bring him out and they run him through, basically the entire tournament there in June to try to lock it down. But, it was a good look. Overall, Yubeltal is still showing that he is one of the best Mercies in the league, but for now, we will still have Monk and Nisha. Across the other side, though, it is the Guangzhou Charge. Let's go ahead and take a closer look. And, I mean, we're not really expecting to see too many shocks on this side of the spectrum here. Eileen, Choice A1, very capable DPS lineup here. Then you've got Rio and Krong in the front, Mandu and Kareev. So plenty of talent on this roster. They just have yet to really cultivate it into a consistently performing team where they can put up results.
Well, the Guangzhou Charge, unlike the Chengdu Hunters, have a very small roster. You have Mike Haley, that's now a two-way, where we don't expect him to really be starting or having any game time now for the Charge. He hasn't for some time, I don't think, since the May Melee. It's been Eileen plus Choice on one the entire time. Ji-Hun is maybe the only other question here. Could Ji-Hun get some game time? The real opportunity for Ji-Hun to get some game time would have been last stage in Summer Showdown, because that was the heavy ball meta, especially in the Eastern Division here in APAC, and he didn't get any game time at all. And now that we've entered the Countdown Cup, there's not as much ball play as I thought there was going to be, because you're seeing a lot of Orisa. If you just watched the last match, you saw a lot of Orisa. If you watch any NA today as well, you saw a lot of Orisa. We are getting into almost like a 50% Orisa meta, or maybe a 40% Orisa meta. There's a high likelihood that I think a team like Charge will go in that direction today, especially with Rio in the lineup, because they have to know that in the exact ball mirror, they might struggle. In fact, I guarantee they will struggle. Chengdu have shown that they are one of the two masters of the ball meta, alongside the Shanghai Dragons, which I know are kind of struggling right now. So we'll see how the other team from the Eastern Division who went to Hawaii, or figuratively went to Hawaii, they didn't physically go there, are going to handle themselves in this meta now, because I don't expect Chengdu to play much Orisa, if at all.
Yeah, that would be such a crazy departure for them. I mean, just historically being the team to very much just force the Wrecking Ball, even when it is not meta whatsoever. But you never know. Again, the squad, they can flip around. They can be flexible. Gaga in that front line means that maybe the Orisa very well could come through. We'll have to just wait and find out. I don't think we're certainly going to be seeing it on our first map, though, because we are going to be heading to Oasis. So the maps like University, and especially City Center, Gardens, very much going to be anticipating to see those Wrecking Balls come in.
So see what opening stage we get here, is on which opening sub-map, as well as what compositions. Rio already highlighting the Orisa. Gardens, okay. And we also saw the Seoul versus Shanghai, by the way. It was double hit scan. That option is available. Now, Eileen looks like he wants to go towards the fire. I don't know if Fire Orisa is going to work out. I suspect Choice One could probably come out on the Soldier, just like Flitter did. It's going to be the Tracer instead.
Yeah, flips over to the Tracer. Eileen, pretty wisely, I would say, going to be going for the McCree, because they absolutely are going to need somebody that can reliably shoot Jinmu in the air. Obviously, plenty of teams ignoring the Pharah in the past, being quite costly for them. They don't want to do that. They want to be able to try and take him out of the sky. Bolt can be pulling him forward. They get a little bit of damage and a smattering of it, but not too much. Right now, point going to be unlocked. And it will be Guangzhou Charge who are able to play forward first. They might just be able to get this first lockdown. That being said, Mandu's going to be the first blood. Gets picked off. Point does get locked in here for the Charge, but let's see how long they can hold it. Gaga's going to be falling low, tries to roll out back to safety to his supports. Is unable to do so. Going to be hacked. They look to try to farm him up. Leave. Picks off Eileen. The res comes in. Nisha puts the Wrecking Ball straight back into the fight. Still have yet to try to get this flip, though. Recall out from Choice A1. Uses that moments before he would have gotten eliminated, so good timing from him. And he nearly has his pulse bomb online to try to maintain control at this point, but Jinmu goes in. Gets the barrage off. Finds Kariv. Rio has fallen. Front line, now the support's going to be broken down. All that added healing that they certainly need gets eliminated. It's only going to be 22% on the board here for the Charge before the Hunters take control.
And a lot of that 22% comes in the fact that they killed Gaga as well. That was the most important kill that the Charge actually got. Forced a res in. They couldn't deny the res. Yeah. If they deny the res, I think they maintain control. Yes, you do see Jinmu get a very fast barrage, but he needs his team there as well. They're going to secure it back after Charge take the initial lead. Now, EMP's a little bit far away. It will have to be the Nano engage. Nano's going to go towards Jinmu. There it is.
Kariv going to be hacked for the moment. Jinmu, just getting down and dirty. Playing on foot. Spots him out. Immortality field going to be finished off, and Gaga rolling through. We'll just get the final elimination there onto Kariv. Things are just going to get potentially more difficult from here. Granted, plenty of ultimates available on the side of the Guangzhou Charge, but that EMP from Leave is just about ready to strike, and there might be a barrage to back it up.
The problem here is for the Chargers, they got the window, they have the amplification matrix, but how do you play against this EMP? Leave is going to wait for this amp matrix. He shouldn't go for a play until the amp matrix is going to be deployed, and then he can directly cancel that ultimate, as well as cancel anything else that Kareev's going to want to do, including the immortality field. That will be Jinmu's opportunity to strike.
Sleeve does connect onto Rio. They're on the high ground on point. It's just going to be the drop in. Young getting right up against him, and Gaga will find the killing blow. Leave in the meantime. Sneaking around the back, goes inside, throws out the EMP, manages to catch 4 members, so no rally to be had, but no kills to follow up quite yet. Good protection is coming through, but this is still going to be time bought, percentage gained, and that last stray rocket from Jinmu will take down Eileen. Now they have to wait for the McCree, otherwise they have no one realistically that can try to take him out of the skies, and that barrage is still being held.
And thank God they actually have that kill on Eileen as well that slows down the charge, because otherwise that was a low-value EMP. Okay, he caught everybody. Yeah, he caught a lot of people with the EMP, but they can't engage on it. It's a big problem. And now there is going to be an Immortality field and an Ant Matrix, and you can't stop it. It's been deployed. Angle not great. Can't see much.
Get the touch, but somebody's going to move back in. They will go ahead and recontest. Monk up on the high ground, trying to get that Nano online. Rio's the first one to fall. Pong still alive, can try to buy some space with the self-destruct. Hasn't let it go yet, though. It'll be late young to start. Pulse bomb from Choice A1 is going to be good. Manages to find the Ana, taking him out of the fight before that Nano could potentially become a factor. Eileen rolls away. Keeps himself safe from Jinmu, who is still lurking above, threatening with a barrage. Now he strikes, manages to find Eileen. The Immortality field comes in just a little bit too late to try to keep the McCree alive. Gareth falls, Krong is going to be gone. They are shoved off the point. The OT plummets, and the first round here on Garden will go the way of the Chengdu Hunters.
And Chengdu massively out-tempo charge there, even with the kind of whiff on the EMP. Again, it's a whiff in the EMP from a team perspective, not from Leaf's individual perspective. He hits everybody, but you can't engage in that small room. It's far too easy for the charge to disengage, and that's why I suggested, look, if you're going to EMP, it should be on top of the Ant Matrix. Bait the ultimates out first, much higher value. They kind of whiff that fight. They still get a kill into Eileen. These individual frags that Jinmu and the rest of the Hunters are finding kind of for free and untraded for the most part at the beginning of fights is what is really costing Charge constantly in 5v6s. They lose Mandu in the first fight, they trade for Gaga, it goes even, they collect 22%. And that ends up being the only 22% they get, because from then on outwards, they keep losing a member at the start of every single fight, or they get tempoed in some other fashion, Barrage deletes them, and everything else goes wrong. Moving on to the next stage, now moving on to the next sub map, will still be more Orisa gameplay.
Yep. Come out to try to clash. Rio obviously can fortify himself to not get crashed on by Gaga. Make sure that he can't just roll in for free, but Chengdu Hunters still seeming like they want nothing to do with the Orisa. And Jinmu, of course, is still going to be sticking through with the bar despite being slightly more enclosed indoors here at University. Leave under some fire, though. Choice A1 putting in a lot of pressure from the back line. They get some extra peel, though, as Monk joins him on the high ground. That's the recall out. Hack not quite going to be able to finish. Chengdu still posturing forward as the point has been unlocked, but no one's been able to lock it down quite yet. Rockets flying out, Jinmu getting up over the top, spots how low they are. They will find Eileen. Good little concussive blast, it's Krong over to the side, alleviating some self-pressure there for himself. Jinmu stays alive, stays in the skies. Now there's no D-Matrix to mitigate the damage, and all hell can break loose. Point's been locked down by the Chengdu Hunters. Now they're just looking for some cleanup here on the back end.
And it'll be a big cleanup here as well. Look how many members of the Charge are still alive. The final lamp coming in through Kareev. And, you know, basically futility. It was just going to prolong their deaths. And you're seeing how difficult it is for Charge to even take positioning. This Orisa-based composition, this bunker, can't even get an angle on the point itself because they're getting bullied around by Jinmu the entire time. The one time Ryu actually touched the point itself and put a shield down, I mean, the rest of his backline was getting decimated. So this is what Chengdu can do. This is what Chengdu is going to do. They have now 5 ultimates. Almost 6 ultimates actually. Gaga's going to engage.
Okay, self-destruct, maybe a little bit of a botch. I think Layton meant to send that forward towards the spawn, but instead clips onto the wall, so it doesn't quite go out over towards the members of the Charge, so no chance of a straight pick-off. Either way, it's still going to be time for purchase here for the side of the Hunters. Nano Boost now used on the Jinmu. He tries to get into a position to use this barrage. He's held back slightly by this Ant Matrix. Gaga goes in a bit deep, has to pull back, goes down the stairwell, keeps himself safe. The rest of the Hunters push forward. They find 2 pickoffs. They'll even get the break here onto Krong's mech. He knows that he's going to need that self-destruct to buy some space on the point, so he just instant to the mines, gets the reset a little bit faster. But 70% about to be online here for the Hunters. It's looking like this very well could be a 2-0 unless the Charge can do something drastic soon.
Could be a 100-0 on this particular submap as well. I mean, look at the confidence from the Hunters. They just dive deep into the sight lines of Kareev after the Ant Matrix comes down. They don't even need to hide away. They could choose to hide away, but they have the positioning. Gaga goes in. He's got the minefield out. Now Barrage is available. Nisha's not dying in this fight because of Valkyrie's up as well. It's going to have to rally into Bongos, into the Supercharger, and hope for the best. Eileen needs to try and catch something with the Deadeye, but it's going to be rough.
Bionate doesn't find anything. Eileen trying to go for the double fin. The hammer there onto Gaga. Can't quite make it connect. Doesn't get anything with the Deadeye. Flip starting to come through as they pulled off of the point. Maybe just concede it, and they will as the Supercharger does come down. So respect being shown here by the Chengdu Hunters. They're not looking to overstep, throw ultimates at the point, and then still have the fight slip out of their fingers. They want to take this with a measured approach, so they decide to just wait, try to recollect themselves. Choice A1 in a bit of a dire situation, has to dash out of there, keeps himself safe. Nano Boost now going to be used. Jinmu drops down, lets the barrage loose, and he will clean up 3. Krong going to be demech, finished off by Jinmu here on the back, and no chance. Self-destruct finds absolutely nothing. Flipped back into their favor, and there's still members waiting to respawn. Griff's trying to swap over onto the Ana now to rejoin in fast, but they need somebody who can touch. I just don't know if anybody's going to be able to get there in time. The answer is they cannot. The closeout will come in. Chengdu Hunters start the series off 2-0 on Oasis.
Jinmu's fire is far too clean here. Easily one of the best, if not the best fire that we've seen so far. I mean, you can't just show him respect. Showing him respect at a minimum means, okay, put Eileen on towards the McCree. Showing him maximum respect means you have to put Choi Se-hwan also on a hit scan, like Seoul had to do versus Flater. If you don't do that, I think Jinmu just walks away with this game. So expectation here now is if we play more fire, which I expect Chengdu will try and put in there if possible, Choi's going to have to go something else. He's going to need a different game plan here. Tracer is not going to be strong enough here. He's going to be bullied anyway as a Tracer. You can see how many opportunities Leave had to make this hack onto him as well. So it's getting a little bit dangerous to put this Tracer into play, and Jinmu is just uncontested, uncontrolled. Did Jinmu die one time in that entire map between 2 sub-maps? I don't think he did.
You know, thinking back about it, I don't think he did either. I think he might have survived the whole way through.
There were 2 deaths total, one on Monk, one on Gaga. That was it. 2 deaths total for the entire Chengdu Hunters over the course of the entire map.
Well, that certainly hurts, but yeah, Guangzhou Charge, unfortunately for them, Jinmu not still on vacation. He is very much here, and he is here to play. A solid start from him, and I don't think we're going to be seeing any substitutions on the side of the Chengdu Hunters given that performance. So let's see how they fare when we come back from the second map, see if the Charge can tie it up, or if the Chengdu Hunters just look to make this a very clean and fast series.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by TeamSpeak, the official voice supplier of the Overwatch League.
we are back, just about to go into Game 2. That's right, you didn't miss anything. I mean, you might have missed something, I guess, if you didn't tune in. But, yeah, Map 1. Gone in the blink of an eye. A very nice 2-0 for the side of the Chengdu Hunters. Was looking like maybe 100-0 on the second round of University, but they pull off the point. They play respectfully. They don't over-aggress. And they recollect themselves, come back in, close it out, bing, bang, boom. Very nicely done by them. And we kind of have to question what the Guangzhou Charge are going to do to counteract this far play from Jinmu, because right now, not seeing much.
We're going to get Route 66 next. So
Fire could be
is
good
there going to be fire on Route? It's pretty decent. A and B, not bad. But that being the case, I do genuinely think, okay, it's time for the double hit scan. It will depend on who's attacking and defending first. I expect that Charge will continue to play more Orisa, which is viable on both attack and defense. If anything, technically speaking, the Orisa has better scaling going into C. The question will be, do we get to go to C? Because if Charge are attacking first, I see them being held on A or B the way it's going so far. If they defend first, they probably go to C, but not because they want to, because Chengdu probably pushed them there. So there's that. It will be, other than that, I think it's going to be a ball-favored map. This is the problem, is Gaga's going to play ball 100% of the time. It's a good map for ball. So Charge going to need to come up with something, and my initial reaction still goes back to, hey, look what Seoul did, kind of good versus Fleta. If you do that, you might have a better chance, at least versus Jinmu, if nobody else.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, we'll have to see. I mean, you know, and if they're going to go for the double hit scan, I'm supposing that that's just going to end up having to be, you know, Ash McCree.
Well, there's no Ash, but so it's going to have to be McCree
Ash
Soldier.
is out.
Choi
you
have
have to do McCree Soldier. You are absolutely correct. Sometimes my brain don't work no good, but it's
technically
it is what it is.
Less flexible, but yeah.
But yeah, I mean, yeah, they kind of have to go for that, or you know, even a Widowmaker, which is a little bit too risky, especially when you're on the defensive side. So we'll see what they land on, whether or not they're going to try to go for it, or if they just keep trying to run what they're currently running. We saw that, you know, initial highlight of the Pharah as well from the side of the Guangzhou Charge, but I don't think that this is at all one of those situations where you can even try to match Pharah for Pharah, because Jinmu is just the best in the world.
I don't even remember seeing Charge play Pharah ever.
Oh, they flashed it right at the very beginning, but yeah, I don't think they haven't really ran it.
As a real pick, that is. Yeah, as a real pick, I don't think I've seen it, and it's going to be the Mandu Mercy. Eileen, I suppose, will play the Pharah. It doesn't sound great. And here's the thing, you're seeing the Hangzhou. Now, you may be asking, what's the Hangzhou about? Hangzhou has been seeing a reasonable amount of play with this Orisa composition. It's really good into the mirror, but I think it's only really good. Well, obviously, I just mentioned the word mirror, and you would have to expect that Chengdu want to also play Orisa. But they're not going to do that. So Chengdu will play ball. Jinmu starts on a Hangzhou just for the scouting, and then he'll move on to either Sombra or Pharah. And then that's going to be the rest of the gameplay. And then I think Charge will be quite sad if Jinmu goes towards Pharah. In fact, I believe that when Jinmu sees the Hangzhou, he should just go the Pharah, because he knows he's got a good match.
Yeah. I think you should just go ahead and swap it straight up. Leave in the meantime. He says, yeah, I'm just maybe going to get parked up. I kind of misses the turret, so. Here comes the swaps, and Jinmu's actually going to be going over to the Sombra.
But he hasn't seen Eileen's Hangzhou yet. Once he does, I think he might change.
Well, we'll have to see if this is going to end up being yeah, maybe this will just end up being an extended scouting run, but I do agree with you. There's very little that can actually take him out of the sky. The most reliable thing, honestly, that they would have would be Kariv.
Some combination of Kariv and Eileen, but you know, you've got two kind of projectiles versus a Pharah that's hard-pocketed. It'd be rough. It does look like Chengdu will be staying on this composition for now. They just maximize the payload distance. Gaga's not in position to go for a play. If Gaga's not in the position to go for a play, Charge can at least be safe in knowing that nothing's happening yet.
I mean, but take a look at this. Jinmu, really slow time to build right now. Obviously, you know, when they're hunkered up, bunkered on top of the gas station, it can prove difficult to try to get yourself into a nice position to actually deal some damage. But, bit of an awkward spot there, but it's going to be Nisha who actually falls. Eileen is playing this little crossfire here, trying to keep him contained in the gas station, runs up the wall just to make himself a little bit more elusive. Does not get picked. Monk's going to be taken out by the pulse bomb, which might have been a little bit of an overstep, honestly, just given that he was fully isolated. Young had already exited the fight, but it's still a kill, and Choice A1 built that up fairly quickly. Whereas Jinmu, not even at 50% of this EMP, so continuing to question whether or not he should be sticking on this.
You have to be very considerate of the fact that, like, where was Monk even standing? That they were so far forward. So the reason why Charge can catch out these Chengdu members is because I think Chengdu were not even prepared for their own play in terms of Gaga trying to go for this 2v1 versus the fact that Kong was caught out. Okay, Dragon's going to fly on through, and I don't think that'll catch anybody. Eileen in trouble.
Late Young going to be D-Max. Rio managing to get that. Krong so very low. Must have gone down to single, or very low double digits. 6 going to be eaten, so Lee finds nothing. Nice eat from Krong. Late Young eliminated now. As the card continues to advance forward. Dive comes in, Jinmu going to be picked off. He's just at 70% now for this EMP with less than 2 minutes remaining. Obviously, he will be able to build one before the time runs out, but will they be able to have any realistic time in the bank, or are they just going to rely on that 2.5 minute bump? Transcendence is going to be popped here by both of these Zenyatta's. Self-destruct up over the top from Krong will find Gaga, and this should be control reestablished here from the side of the Guangzhou Charge.
The only thing that Chengdu rather only missing here is the EMP, so Jinmu's only on 94%. Like I said earlier, he hasn't had the quick pacing that he's needing that other Sombras have displayed. We can get these really fast EMPs. Stick just to confirm the mech as well. That's going to be pretty deadly. Late Young might have to just go off the map here. And so, not bad from Charge in terms of the defense so far. The one thing that is probably not so great about the defense is you'll notice that the payload is very far forward, so despite winning all these fights and despite Chengdu never attacking the high ground, Chengdu have just kind of respected this high ground. The only attack they made was leave attempting a pulse bomb, which got eaten, but while they were not going for the high ground, they got maximum payload distance and then forced hand of the Charge. Good self-destruct from Krong to clear the mines.
The one reprieve that they have is that this EMP, Kariv does not have a Transcendence to try to counteract it. However, leaving Monk to die on the back end. It's only Kariv as a casualty so far. Now Nisha's going to be gone. There's no supports in the fight here for the side of the Chengdu Hunters. Eileen staying alive. They will force out this self-destruct as Late Young tries to persevere. Shot not quite going to connect, but it doesn't matter because Rio gets the headshot to finish off the Baby Diva. 26 seconds now remaining in the time bank. And Eileen, he still has his Dragon Strike to clear a card.
This is a problematic situation for Chengdu now. I can see a full hold maybe being found by the Charge because, like you said, the Dragon Strike is obviously there, but you're coming up with some other ultimates as well.
Jinmu's
dead. That's
he just dies.
That's really bad.
Oh, that is catastrophic. They have to try to play without him. We'll see if he goes for any last-second swap just to try to get over to the card. He's actually going to be shifting to the Genji now.
Touched.
OT does get forced out, so good on them. They're not going to have a little repeat of the Dynasty on Blizzard World, but the Pulse Bomb finds Monk. He's just going to be eliminated to the Dragon Strike, so yet again, no supports in the fight. Pulse Bomb from Leave. He tries to send it over to Eileen, but he eludes capture. Gets the kill on the Leave in the end, jumping up over the top. And yeah, it's just looking like a full hold, barring some kind of miracle, barring that everybody AFKs on the side of the Charge and allows them to push it through. But that does not happen. And the Chengdu Hunters really just try to force this square peg into a round hole. It does not work out, and they get full held here on Route 66.
I think it's more like an oval-shaped thing into a round hole. Like, it's nearly there, it's close enough, and you think, oh, okay, it's reasonable, it's similar. We should surely be able to force in without too much issue, and they definitely try and force. And what you get here is a situation where I think they would have had a very easy matchup had they gone the far. There are no good counters on the other side. Charge have no capability to take down Jinmu. They've displayed that even when they do have capability to take down Jinmu via the McCree, they couldn't do that. So there's no way they would have been able to do it with a Hangzhou. Second to that, I mean, that's number one. Second to that as well, you'll have noticed that very first fight as well, when Gaga went for this 2v1 play with Late Young saying to his team, yo, I'm in a 1v1 with Krong, he's in the tunnel, we can catch him out here. Gaga's like, I got you, fam. He swings up, blocks him out, tries to keep him in this tunnel. They go for this 2v1. The problem with that is the rest of the Hunters are already very committed deep, below Big Earls, around the payload, and they were preparing for a different play. So they got kind of baited by that 2v1 trying to catch up Krong because they thought they had a D-Mag. And then you see Monk's position was so far forward that the rest of, like him and the rest of Chengdu were just massively caught out after they failed to get Krong down, and they lost that first fight and snowballed advantages in terms of the ultimates. You look to the second last fight, the most pivotal fight for me, again, the key piece that was missing is the EMP, because everybody threw ultimates on both sides. There was rallies, there were transcendences, you have the mines come out from Gaga, which instantly got cancelled by the self-destruct. The one thing that could have swung it further, and could have swung it maybe for the Chengdu Hunters, was the EMP that wasn't there. When it did come out, it wasn't good enough.
Choice they want, just looking for an initial pick there. Doesn't find anything. Now it's just going to be, Jinmu on the far, Leave taking up the reins of this Sombra. Almost goes off the side of the map. Obviously, it's a translocator, so just jump back to safety. But
you'll notice, by the way, they have gone far now. And this is where Charge have the option, like, okay, do we play Hangzhou? Do we go back to spawn, give something else a try? And that's the correct thing, right? Because you have the attacker's advantage. You can go back to spawn. You can just go double hit scan. It could be a fuller hold if Charge try and now literally force the square peg in, because this one definitely is, to me, a square peg.
All right, well, we'll see how they fare. Jinmu tagged up there for just a moment. Does have that Discord orb on him. Has to play very respectfully around that. Rio trying to go for a bit of a rollout. Gets interrupted by Gaga. Jinmu will get taken out. Storm arrows from Eileen find the kill. Rez not going to come through. It does come through, but Eileen has to follow up immediately to punish the Mercy. Now Leave is eliminated. That's going to be a break on the mech here of Late Young. Tries to dive into the back, but that's not going to last. He only finds Kariv, and now the cart is just got so much space to move forward. Gaga, I mean, he will be able to get back in time, but can he buy enough time for the rest of the team to arrive? I don't know. This might just be done.
The one last thing that Chengdu have going for them is that Leave is actually pretty close to the EMP. There is a Nano. The Nano can go on either Gaga or Jinmu. It should go into Jinmu, but Gaga probably has a touch here. If Gaga touches, you're going to have the Nano. He's already in position. A lot of ultimates online. Dragon Strike being used.
He gets sent over to the left side to try to call up their access. Nano is out on the Jinmu, but it's not going to be enough. They focus fire him. They take him out of the fight. Now Monk is going to be dead. Nisha cannot get the res off. The barrage is not going to be found in this fight. EMP will find 3, but it doesn't matter. Mandu has armored up absolutely everybody on his squad. They will clean it up, and just like that, they glide into victory. Guangzhou Charge taking Route 66 from out underneath the Chengdu Hunters. After such a one-sided start on Oasis, they clap back.
What an incredible performance by Eileen's Hangzhou there as well. I mean, just the knowledge, the shots, the initial kill onto Jinmu, and then the follow shot onto Nisha there as well. I mean, one of the most difficult things about this Pharmacy duo to punish isn't just that Jinmu's a really great firer. Normally, you can't stop Nisha or Yveltal from getting the raise on. Normally, you kill Jinmu once, he's got a second life, he comes back in, the Reign of Terror continues. But here, Eileen, not once but twice, shuts down Nisha, prevents the res the second time, and despite the res coming through the first time, without Nisha on the Mercy, it almost doesn't matter. And they just barely miss on ultimates. You'll notice that Monk just only got the Nano, I think, as Jinmu died. And it just, at that stage, it just doesn't matter anymore. So the timing was only slightly off. And the fact that Chengdu even go fire in the defense says to me that they went back and said, yo, maybe we should have played the fire. And they decided to do that, but it was too late.
Well, too late indeed. We are tied up 1-1. Not going to be seeing any 3-0 Overwatch here to close out the evening. We'll see who can stretch a lead, or if there's a draw. You never really know what happens, what's going to happen, rather. But we have another map coming up for you in just a few minutes, so don't go anywhere, guys. The action will continue when we come back.
Team up for special attack.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by TeamSpeak, the official voice supplier of the Overwatch League.
Alrighty, we are back, guys. The action's going to be continuing forward for at least 2 more maps because we do have a tie. It's going to be 1-1 after the Guangzhou Charge. We're able to get a full hold and then push the cart through on Route 66. And we had the stat at the very beginning of that map, actually, Avril, saying that this was the one map type historically that Chengdu Hunters have a winning record on over the Guangzhou Charge. Obviously, that's through a couple different iterations of both of these teams. But it's getting undone just a little bit there as they do suffer a loss. Yeah.
Okay, apparently we didn't get any of that, but what we're going to get now is the fact that, okay, when I looked at the map pool, and we're looking at the fact that, what are the good maps here for Chengdu? I would have said Oasis, Route 66 are 2 of the really good maps to start out with. You have great ball play that can be done on both, especially Route is a good map for ball. Once you move into the next maps of Temple of Anubis, a Blizzard World after that, which we're guaranteeing, and then possibly Nepal, things are more going in the favor of Charge slightly. I would say that Temple is a map that you're going to have to play some Winston on if you are Gaga. And then if you're the Charge, you can stay on the Orisa. And this is going to be the Orisa day for Charge. I can see it ahead of me right now. Charge probably just play Orisa for the rest of the day on all the maps.
Yeah, I mean, it was totally fine. They were able to just sit steady on top of the garage there for the most part, of the gas station rather, and just completely hold them. I mean, granted, maybe now they should anticipate that Jinmu's probably going to lean back more into the Pharah a little bit more heavily. And they can try to, maybe rework the DPS lineup a little bit around that, but we'll have to just wait and see. But starting things off, I do believe, on Temple of Anubis. On the defense, the Charge, they absolutely can just set up a nice little bunker there on the mid-ground in front of the point.
They will. And if we read things correctly as well, once we see the actual compositions, I don't know. I have to question whether Jinmu really wants to go for it. I mean, he has typically gone in the past into more moves. I do remember, there was obviously that one time when Jinmu started on the Sombra, realized he had a good matchup, swapped to the Fire, which is kind of why I was inclined to believe he'd do that again on Route 66. Now, once he sees Eileen on Hangzhou, despite Eileen taking him out of the skies, I do think that is still somewhat of a rarity, considering the Hangzhou versus Fire matchup. So how often he can do that again will be up in contention. So Jinmu, I expect, same thing as what we've seen previously on Temple of Anubis. Take a look, do a bit of scouting, swap to the Fire once he realizes he's up against Hangzhou, and pray that Eileen is not a Hangzhou god today. Although, right now, based on R66, he might be.
Yeah, I mean, it was just such a nasty start from him. Nisha's already going to be moving over onto the Mercy. See if that's just going to be the damage boost to Genji. Try to just get a blade up initially here and quickly for leaves. I think that is going to be the play. Jinmu, he's already going to be dead. There's a little pick up there from Kariv. Rez comes out, put him back in the fight. Sleep Dart connection onto Kronk. He's taking a little bit of a nap, but they just don't have any threat of really taking Kronk out of the fight. And Eileen will get a headshot on the Jinmu. Oh, it's gone as quickly as he reappeared.
He's just coming to the point, died. He didn't actually reach the point. He came into the beginnings of the 8-point dies and then dies again. Nisha down now as what's trade. It's okay, it's something.
A little bit of a fast run back though for Chose wants to join in. Nisha likely just to get taxi back over pretty quickly. Gaga being dove on. Over to the side, needs to get some heal, needs to get some heals. They just continue to press forward. Leaf, however, dashing through will find Kareem, but he will follow up and finds both supports, only at the cost of the main tank. Right here is Young going to be dropping down off the high ground. Pocket heals coming through from Nisha, just trying to keep everybody topped up. Leaf jumps up. Here gets into the face of Eileen. Late Young will be able to pursue, get the kill there onto the Han zone. It seems like that should be it for the Hunters to lock down point A.
Thank goodness for Chengdu's ability to play leave on this Genji, because everything else is seeming a little bit shoddy right now. Monk super late onto the Nano. It's interesting that they were going for this early Dragon play, because normally first fighters depend on the Nano onto Gaga. Here it is finally, which they're going to be forced to use for Charge to get a defense. In fact, Charge have a lot of ultimates.
Yeah, and they are using them absolutely. Self-destruct goes out from Kronk, doesn't manage to find anything. Dragon Strike now going to come crashing across the point, and it will kill off Jinmu yet again. Nisha now going to be dead. I mean, they wait till the very last moment. 96% accrued here for the Chengdu Hunters. As the Sleep Dart will connect on the choice they want, but he steps up. Manages to go ahead and pop that recall to keep himself alive. They will actually retake this point. I mean, still 2 minutes granted, and they will be starting from 66. But that's still a really nice retake of the point here from the side of the Charge.
Chengdu, the expectation is to win directly off the 1 nano, and that's just not going to happen here. Jinmu's died 4 times so far. Look, maybe he is playing from hotel quarantine. Maybe he's on ping. I'm joking, because he's clearly not, but I mean, it's what it looks like. He's just getting farmed for some reason. If he should be up soon, pending he doesn't die a 5th time here. Supercharger has been deployed, and now Chengdu probably going to have to respect it. If they had the EMP, they could disrespect it, go in and just EMP the whole thing, but now they're going to have to wait.
But Young not wanting to risk it, just pick up that mega pack would have been a nice little added bonus to the charge there of Monk. Late Young, however, does go right back into the fight. Mondu's going to fall. Now Karib is going to be dead. Leave cutting down Rio. So with that Arisa, so one less barrier, and it's all on Frog. It will not last very long. Another sleep guard connects on the choice they want. They can finish him off this time around. Will be Eileen who falls instead. And choice I want, he's kind of stranded off in the middle of nowhere. Can try to be elusive and maybe apply some pressure in the back line with this pulse bomb that he does have online. Let's see if he manages to get a catch, but look at the ult stacked up right here for the Chengdu Hunters. We might be looking at a snowball unless this pulse bomb finds some impact.
Just forget about hit scan. I don't want to hear anything about hit scan again. It's not relevant because Hangzhou and Eileen's Hangzhou specifically is into the conversation. Even when Charge are losing, he gets 2 fadeaway kills, just 2 easy headshots. One at Jinmu, one at Anisha. Jinmu looks like he's about to die again. They desperately need this EMP, and they needed to connect good. The connect's
EMP
okay.
does go out. The rally's going to be rolling from Mondu. Pulse bomb will find Jinmu on the back end. Gaga diving forward, tries to get this hit. He's trying to shove Corinne forward towards the rest of his team. We'll just be able to finish him off and leave. Gets dead, taken out to the remake. Nice little pick off there from Krong, whether it was intentional or not. Either way, it's still going to be a welcomed one if you're in the Charge household. Eileen spotting out Young here in the corner will get that finish on the T-Mech. And they can just go ahead and stagger him now. So we'll have to reset and go again. And that was a big, hefty investment from the side of the Chengdu Hunters.
Yeah, Chengdu's game plan here is, I mean, I get it. If you look at the overall macro strategy, what they compositionally want to play and why out of the gates, even on towards A, they want to have a good scaling composition for B. Temple maneuvers B, difficult to capture, I understand. That's why they want to go for the Genji. Nanoblade works, but everything's just out of line in terms of the sync for the ultimates. I was going to say coordination, maybe that's out of line as well so far, but you don't have the nano when the blade is up now, so you're going to have to wait. And as you wait, Karib will have the Transcendence. You need Jinmu to find a god hack onto Karib, otherwise next fight's going to be pretty nasty. And even then, on top of that, I expect Eileen just to hit another log in the face of someone.
Gaga trying to apply some pressure here. They spot him out over on the side. Leaf will still manage to find 2, however, before falling to the Rockets. Krong finalizing a little bit of peel. Still going to be down to support, but that might not matter too much. Inching forward now are the Chengdu Hunters, applying some pressure to this point, trying to take it up, but the recontest comes in. They won't gain too much of anything, and Griff still just going to be holding on to that Transcendence, ready to try to top up his team. Jinmu picked off yet again, 10% away from the EMP, and this is just going to have to be a reset from the Hunters.
Okay, that time, Jinmu dying a little bit more inconsequential. He's just trying to farm. The bigger issue I have right now is if you look at the ultimates, guess what they have and guess what they don't have. Oh, is the part where they have one part of the nano blade and not the other, so that they have the nano but not the blade? I think that's what I'm talking about, guys. I think that's what I'm zooming in on here, because they just never have these 2 things lined up. You got to use both of them together, otherwise I don't see why the Genji's here at all.
Pile driver's great. Dragon Story comes crashing through. Late Young is going to be demeched in the end. Has to use that self-destruct just to get back in. They try to deny. They don't manage to do so. Krong now keeping them zoned back, and Gaga dead to the whip shot from Mondu. Means that we have to reset yet again, and it's going to be less than a minute now. If a finish at all, seems like it's very well could be in overtime, because Karib is still sitting there. He can still buy time. This Transcendence is not needed to be used.
Yeah, it's the same one from like the first B fight, I think, or the maybe the second B fight. And both of the Chengdu supports died instantly in that engage, so it was over as far as that, just straight away. Forget about the Primal, forget about Gaga. Both supports are dead, it's done, it's over. So now it has to be the best EMP. Good catch, Karib dead.
Yeah, decent little catch, and Karib will fall, so no Transcendence in this fight, but there still could be an extended one. Nisha's going to be traded out as Choice A1 gets the pulse stick. They're trying to do the same to Mondu, trade out here against the Brigidas. And Gaga will finally finish him up, but the supports are gone, as you say. Monk now eliminated, Late Young going to be demech. Leaf trying to stay alive, almost has that blade online, but might just have to wait for a last-second fight here at this point. Transcendence does get used. Definitely an opportunity for this blade to find some serious impact, but they have to play this perfectly.
And you are way too far away from the nano. Late Young can't get back towards the mech. Eileen's on a doom. There's no time. Somebody has to touch. Probably going to have to be Jinmu or Gaga. Jinmu's dead, and Leaf just has to blade. This is not going to go well.
He's out onto the point. Will manage to slice in for 1 kill. Puts a hit onto Karib, but Karib comes up with 2 himself. gets Gaga, gets the Genji, and that is going to be a successful hold at point B here for the side of the Guangzhou Charge. 0% surrendered over to the Chengdu Hunters, who had such a strong start, so many ults to work with to try to go for the snowball, but these continual pickoffs coming through for the Charge just it just bleeds down the time.
I mean, forget about the snowball for a second. The entire A attack was a bit of a blunder, and the issue I have with the A attack is we look at some really sick Eileen plays here, and probably how he manages to catch everybody. I mean, there it is.
Hello.
Oh, what a disgusting prediction. He even drops the back. Oh, honestly, deserved. You give it to him. Jimmy had 8 deaths, and at least half of those were coming through from Eileen. Now, let me explain the Chengdu side of things in a little bit more of a clearer picture. They decide they want a nano boost leave for the first fight. There's, in my opinion, a bit less of an emphasis on trying to get Gaga up his initial, get Monk up the initial nano, because it took Monk a minute 16. I was looking specifically at the timing here. The standard for me is you got to get it in 1 minute. So the 3-minute mark, that's where the nano's got to come in. Use it onto Gaga, secure A point, you're done, you're good to go. Everything else is saved for the next fight so that you can then snowball. Monk doesn't get it until 2:44, something like that, just like really late. They end up having to use the nano just to win A anyway, which after they kind of got almost free fight because of leave. And then they had this kind of massive disconnect because they never then again had nano and blade at the same time. It was just really weird. I mean, you have to wait for the nano again. You have to have both. Otherwise, I don't see why they're even bothering with the Genji if you're not going to play the nano blade.
Yeah, so many bizarre situations here. There's Jinru now back onto the Pharah. Leave. Gonna try to go alongside him with this Widowmaker. Eileen just gets situated on top of Davis himself. Layton dropping down, looking to apply some pressure, push Rio maybe into an unideal position. Otherwise, just steadily build up towards the self-destruct.
You know what's funny? Is Charge are now going to be the ones playing this Genji? Okay, Kareem is in...
completely disconnected from his squad.
Well, actually, the person that disconnected is Jinmu, because it's Chengdu defending, so Jinmu just goes straight into spawn. I was going to say, it's funny because Charge are now the team playing the Genji, and they're like the most well-known Genji team, probably in the whole league, but definitely in the Eastern Division. And now you are going to probably see how Genji is supposed to be played, as opposed to what we saw out of Chengdu.
Well, minor pressure being applied to Jinmu, who's otherwise just running away with this ult percentage build. Still, obviously, will have to be concerned about Prong getting up into his face, as well as the deflect potential there from Choice A1. Leaf just dancing around with Eileen. Looks to spray down with the left click. Tries to zoom in, but he just finishes him off. Nation now going to be hacked, so no hope for a res. Is that a good enough window for the Guangzhou Charge to get themselves in onto the point? Looks like the answer is going to be hell yeah. Choice A1 dashes through, finds Jinmu. Nisha still not going to be able to do too much there to try to bring it back to the fight, so just turning back and forth between these DPS. One, then losing the other. Leaf swaps over onto the Genji, as they may very well look for a last chance dive onto this point to try to bring it back. And yeah, I agree.
They have to force ults. They have to force the EMP or the nano or the blade.
Well, blade is going to lead first. Mortality field. It's finished off. He's looking for a target. They're sleeping away. Pocket healing comes in, but it's not going to be good enough. Monk falls. Now Leaf is going to be cut down as well. Right clicks coming through as Choice A1 just continues to farm right up into their faces. What is that, 4 or 5 kills all on his back? The rest will bring Kaga back into the fight, but he's just going to be an ult battery here for the remaining members of the Guangzhou Charge and say, okay, yeah, let me just throw in a couple more right clicks. I'm a third of the way to my next blade. The Guangzhou Charge can set their sights on point B.
Okay, the end of that fight for Chengdu was pretty poor because, like you said, the res made not a lot of sense, and you know that kind of stuff wasn't good. But they forced all the 3 big ultimates out of Guangzhou Charge. There's no double cap now. There's no opportunity to snowball because you need one of the nanoblade or the EMP, preferably both, if you are the Charge to actually go to B. So Charge have ruined their ability to actually double cap this, I think.
Well, halt into barrage. Jinmu will manage to find Mandu, gets Prong out of the mech. That should be a good enough amount of time bought, especially with Rio having used his minefield over here at the point. Looks like Jinmu's going to be swapping now that he uses the ult. He's going to go for the Sombra. Yes, he does. There's down a translocator. Needs to get a couple of health packs hacked out. We'll see major change up here as Nisha as well. So just going to go for the Brigida to try to shut down Choice A1.
I will say that A attack all came down to the fact that Eileen got a solo kill onto Leaves Water, because from there, what happened is Eileen then gets a manual hack onto Nisha, and then guess what? Without Nisha able to pocket Jinmu, he gets fragged by Choice at 1, and then it all falls to pieces after that. The fact that Charge can actually, well, the fact that Chengdu rather, can actually rescue the situation by forcing all the important ultimates out of Charge is the only reason right now why Charge haven't already won the map, because otherwise I think we'd be looking at a 1-1, or rather a 2-1. So this is an opportunity now where Nanoblades finally available for both teams. We'll see in just a hot second. Eileen, though, can turn the tide. An EMP or a hack onto Leave will give the advantage to Charge.
Nano boost goes out, Leave dives into the back, rally rolling from Mondo, but it's not going to be good enough. Will fall to Gaga, just Goomba stomping him, and Groove will get cut down. 2 quick picks onto the supports. Eileen dead on the back end as well, just by some extra time, but it's still 3 minutes for only a single tick that needs to be gained.
Which means, if you're a Chengdu fan, don't celebrate. That wasn't a good fight. Oh, but you just won. Why isn't it a good fight, Avril? Because you've just lost your ultimate. You've just lost any ability to defend now. You need to wait for Charge to actually make the first move here. Let them waste their own time, and then counterblade. It has to be Nanoblade versus Nanoblade, because now Charge, they can just play their own Nanoblade. It's going to be Jinmu dropping the fattest EMP, or Chengdu simply lose.
Pressure mounting here for the side of the Chengdu Hunters, who want to keep their heads above the water, have that one-map stretch lead over the Guangzhou Charge. But Charge, I can imagine, they probably haven't felt this hungry for a win in quite some time. EMP does come through, managed to find Karib and Mondu. Former will fall, Mondu under a little bit of pressure, and will get picked off in the end. Little trade-offs here again, just pressuring the supports, getting those eliminations. They won't find anything on the back end this time, but I mean, still time on the side of the Charge.
Let me tell you how this needs to go. Jinmu, I would have expected the correct play to be Jinmu needs to wait for the Nanoblade coming through, and then you have to literally hack or EMP the Nanoblade. That's how you actually have to win, because all this is doing is giving Charge 6 ultimates. The only good news for the Hunters is because they've technically won 2 fights in a row, air quotation marks, they have a primal build up. So they have some defensive capability, so even when they get farmed by this Nanoblade, they can still survive.
The EMP gets absolutely nothing from the side of Eileen. The blade now comes up from choice A1. He is going to be nano boosted. Dashes in. So for a little bit more, we'll get monks, so the supports are going to be gone. Gaga there to buy some time. The follow-up hack comes in. Choice A1. Pocketed and focusing everything into him to just try to keep him sustained. And so far, it's working a treat. Leave now under pressure. Has to try to exit, but he gets another blade back up. Reflection's going to be used, falls low, a little bit more healing. The right click will knock Krong out of the mech. They punish the Baby Diva because they absolutely need to. Seems like the answer is going to be no. Krong is right back into the fight. Now Gaga is gone. Leave. He needs this blade to be absolutely massive when he draws it out. But now we're down below a minute for the side of the Guangzhou Charge. They have no ults to speak of, and there's a Nano Blade combo available for the Chengdu Hunters. Can they actually force this draw?
They don't have the nano, but they do have the rally, so build up some armor now. They also have an EMP coming online. What they need to do is wait for the Charge to go in, play a very defensive EMP. They got it early. Okay, this has to be really good now.
Yeah, that's going to be the supports again. Focus fires for a little bit more on the back end. Love to see any kind of stagger here on Krong would be huge. They will be able to break him out. Just leave that Baby Diva, force him to try to swap off. He doesn't have that much ult percentage to speak of.
I'm losing my mind. Okay. They just don't let Charge waste their own time. They keep forcing fights when they don't need to. Okay, there's 17 seconds left, and there is 1 shot left for the Charge. The good news is there was still some staggers there, so there's a decent win. There's a small W there. They waste some extra time. Eileen will now be touching. They're only looking for 1 tick. There's nothing good online. Rally needs to be popped from Nisha ASAP, and Chengdu can still win this one.
Okay. They get the touch, Eileen's looking for a hack. Not going to be able to find anything. They pile in. The shield bash is huge. They take him right out of the fight. Somebody's got to touch the point. No one is touching the point. They finally managed to get it right at the very last second. Rio hacked out, Krong falling low. Both of the tanks in dire need of some TLC, but they shove them off. They buy enough space. And in the end, you know, I jokingly said it, Avril, before the break, but in the end, it will result in a draw. So we are still tied 1-1. We are no closer to determining who is going to be taking this series.
You know what? I'm kind of okay with that. To be honest, I think everyone did lose here. We all lost after that from both teams' performances, because I don't know what I'm more disappointed in, the fact that, you know, Chengdu gave away everything and allowed Charge to have this perfect 6 ultimate fight, or the fact that Charge blundered a 6 ultimate fight, probably potentially off the back of Eileen's poor EMP, and maybe that's a W for Chengdu in a way, because you're really happy that Eileen is not playing Hangzhou. You're really happy that he's playing the Sombra instead, because he's historically not been the best Sombra, and it shows.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of inconsistencies here and some poor decision-making from both of these squads, but a draw, so still not being separated. We'll see if we can separate them a little bit further when we get ready to go into yet another map type. Hybrid going to be coming up here in just a bit. We'll see who takes the lead, or if there's just another draw. Hell, why not? Let's just go the distance. I don't know, but we'll be back in just a few minutes, so don't go anywhere. we are back, and we are no closer to knowing who is going to be able to take this series between the Chengdu Hunters and the Guangzhou Charge. Temple of Anubis, it goes to a draw. 2 successful holds over at point B. No one can pick up a single tick. And, well, here we are, Avril. We get ready to move forward into Blizzard World yet again. Solid in the last series. Had a little bit of a catastrophic failure at the end there by the side of the Seoul Dynasty. We'll see if that happens again. Or maybe we'll get another draw. I don't know. I'm all about it. Why not?
It's always funny and ironic when the team that's playing against Shanghai is the team that's C9s. Like, surely that doesn't happen. Surely it's like, are we in upside down world today? It's like Shanghai and only the team that's C9s. It doesn't seem right. But what also doesn't seem right is that we're got how many maps deep? We're like 3 maps deep in now, and it's 1-1. We are definitely going to be going to a map 5, no matter what, which means Nepal, as teased, is going to get played. Blizzard World next. Obviously, I don't even know what map 6 is. It will probably be an Escort map, but I don't know exactly which one.
Yeah.
So no matter what it is, though, actually, the only options are Rialto and Havana, and those are actually both good for Charge, assuming Charge continue playing Orisa. So they've got that going for them. If we go to map 6, I'm actually going to give this to the Charge. But right now, could be anyone's game. Blizzard World, pretty even map. It's good for Orisa, good for Ball. C is going to be a little bit different, so Chengdu do need a game plan as far as attacking C goes. Once on the attacking side, I've not been impressed with any Sombra gameplay, though, I've seen. I think Arlene Sombra was just okay. Jinmu Sombra was getting hard farm. Leave Sombra was actually picking up some decent pace, but it's Leave. So you just put any hero in Leave's hands, and apparently it's good.
Other than maybe the Widowmaker, that was a little bit of a snafu there at the start of that defense on Temple of Anubis. Couldn't quite land with a shot. Ends up getting out-traded by the enemy Sombra. But we know that he's a little bit more of like a pop-off Widowmaker. He's either really in the groove or it's just going to be fairly low impact. For that case, fairly low impact, but he swaps over to the Genji. It's good enough for them to close out that defensive side and force the draw. But, yeah, I mean, for the most part, Leaf is very much going to be fairly reliable. But it seems like he is having a little bit of an off day. I think back to those pulse bombs coming out on Route 66 when he's playing the Tracer. Not really getting those sticks on prime targets, kind of whiffing a couple. I mean, obviously, you and I, we disagreed about the, Krong 8-1, but we kind of disagreed about the overall comp that they were running. Not having the Pharah there to add some extra pressure so he can more easily get into a back line. But we'll see how he fares now. This should be certainly a wake-up call for the Chengdu Hunters that try to get their heads back into this match.
And question marks again in terms of what will be run. I actually foresee Chengdu's attacking side going towards Genji on C, because it just seems like the most obvious and simple solution to the puzzle of if standard dive with the ball isn't great on C, what is? And a Nanoblade is probably an easier type of thing to pull off. And again, just for context, because people might be confused. It's like, okay, well, Chengdu, they technically held B. I mean, both teams did. Chengdu held B, and they won every fight in a row. But here's the thing you have to remember, guys, is Charge's game plan is just to go for 1 tick. 1 tick means they win Temple of Anubis. And to get 1 tick, to win a 2CP, to win an attacking side on the B attack, you must massively outvalue the defensive team on ultimates or play advantage, and Chengdu throwing away ultimates like that is exactly how Guangzhou Charge will pick up 6 ultimates and outvalue the Chengdu Hunters. The fact that Charge misfired has nothing to do with the overall game plan, everything to do with the fact that they just failed to execute. So let's see if Choice 1 hits an opening shot. Probably not. Jinmu's not even looking. They know Jinmu's going to be playing the Fire, which I would actually suspect means Choi might want to stay on the Widow, but it won't be the Eileen Hangzhou again. If he hits any shots like he did on the last map, this could be good for Charge.
Just taking a couple straight shots, trying to get a hit here onto the Pharmacy duo. The Dragon proved to be rather difficult at that range. But now it's just going to be slow and steady approach for the Guangzhou Charge, inching their way forward.
Yeah, it's going to be a slow and kind of boring start here. As, I mean, you're not even really playing for Nano here if you are Chengdu, so there's not that initial win condition. It's not like goes on a Winston to start with. No one's really going to have an ultimate. I suspect it should be Jinmu up first. Jinmu and Choi, probably the first ultimates of the game. Oh, Eileen's just getting bullied.
Yeah, just getting pressured, and Leaf cannot jump out. Just go ahead and fall down. Big opening now established, and Eileen just storm arrows Jinmu out of the sky. The pressure comes in, Krong moves forward, and Nisha says, yep, I can't bring him back from that one. And Now with Gaga gone, it seems like point A should just be broken open. The last strikes of the Chengdu Hunters completely contained at the back of the point. The Discord Orb comes forward onto Monk. The pocket healing is not going to be good enough, nor does it last long enough, as Eileen will finish off the other side of that pharmacy duo in the end. So fairly fast attack here, going to be just shy of 5 minutes now in the time bank for the side of the Guangzhou Charge as they break open A.
Eileen should not get off the Hangzhou for, I was going to say the rest of the map. Let's just say for the rest of the series, really, because when he's on this Hangzhou, he's absolutely fragging. He's going to catch the targets. On the back of Kariv's Discord as well, that's how you're going to blow up Jinmu, and then you land a perfectly executed dive for the rest of the backline, and this is, you know, including the fact that Lee was caught out. So you initially have the 6v5, convert onto a 6v4, and things even get better from there for the Charge. And now, plenty of time in the pocket for B. Pulse Bomb to work with as well. The rest of Ultimate's coming online. Still waiting for something, though, on the Hunters. Nano's going to be coming up first.
Yeah, okay, well, Eileen does get taken down. There's going to be a lot of pressure taken away here from the side of the Chengdu Hunters. Maybe find some stable ground to stand on now. Pulse Bomb not going to connect. Choice A1 just gets a little bit of damage on the late young, but he'll be, you know, pretty well off. Well enough, I should say, as Kariv just needs to exit using that Transcendence to roll through and get back in with the rest of the squad over the archway.
That could be massive for Hunters here. The fact that Kariv was forced to pop Trans, or maybe he made a mistake there. Leave now has a perfect opportunity to land at a really, really good EMP. They don't want to go, again, they don't want to go too early, and Hunters have been kind of, you know, prematurely firing off a few too many times for my liking. They need to be kind of waiting for the perfect position for this payload to be in place, charge in an open area, play this EMP. They have all the ultimates to support it, they'll be okay.
Oh, I mean, look how boldly Eileen is playing right now, getting right up into Jinmu's face, and it ends up costing him dearly. Will fall. More time going to be bought. Already seeing over a minute taken off the clock here in the cart, not really moving too far forward yet. Starting to inch up now, as they can't really sit there alongside Rio too much. They're paying attention to other avenues, and yeah, it's paying off for them because Jinmu just goes well into the back, over towards their spawn, finds Eileen yet again, just continues to offer damage, and he's just making sure that the Charge are not operating as a full unit.
The Rio step here as well, so it goes from bad to worse. This Jinmu versus Eileen duel has been the best thing so far about this entire map, and then maybe the entire series. With the choice of one down, the fight's obviously going to be over. And now, finally, I think Hunters are playing this fight very intelligently, this map very intelligently. Late pick onto Mandu, which is going to cost them more time. So that massive time back the Charge had after a one and done on A, it's basically gone now. And you're playing into all the ultimates that Hunters have online. The good news is Kariv has a Transcendence, dies, which is bad, but he has a Transcendence, which means they don't have to fear the EMP, because I think they do fear the EMP. They are concerned about playing into it, which is why they've been so split, so out of the open, but they're going to have to be in the open at some stage to attack the payload.
Yeah, they're having trouble getting back over towards this card right now. I mean, everybody can, you know, try to move over fully indoors. It will be escorted here by Krong with the D-Matrix up, just making sure that those stray rockets don't come through. Gaga, however, is waiting around the back, and Jinmu, ever present in the skies, just raining down hell from above. Gaga comes crashing in, and Krong's just doing what he can to try to keep this safe. And yeah, Rio's gonna get picked off. Leave finding the kill. And the Chengdu Hunters, they are just racking up so many ultimates right now. Jinmu, however, with, okay, a little bit of an odd one. Seems like maybe he was trying to catch Krong, get that D-Mech, but he made it back indoors. But I mean, either way, he's just forcing position, and we've seen Jinmu does not need a barrage to find kills. Self-destruct from Krong will zone them back, but he still gets picked off. However, Nisha might be in a bit of a better spot to the rest. But that being said, Eileen gets the headshot, taking down the Mercy. That's finally the breakthrough that they have been looking for. Throws out, gets the scouting arrow in. Spots out multiple members. Final shot will connect onto Monk. EMP. Trigger gets pulled there by Leaf. He will find Kariv. Mandu manages to survive, still holding on to a lot of that rally armor. The cart continue to advance now. Several members strong, pushing this forward, getting closer and closer to point B, but it's been a good amount of time bought by the Hunters.
There's a Nano who doesn't got Jinmu, but he's got nothing to work with here. You've got the Valkyrie. He actually punches Eileen to death. So, you know, the first play he goes for is obviously just got a straight home to Eileen. This should still be a charge win here. They don't need to play any ultimates. Be a cap in short order. I don't know who's made mistakes here. It's been a comedy of errors, I think, almost from both sides. Choice One probably has to pulse now. Gaga,
this could end up getting turned back around. Gaga does not get picked here. Mandu's going to be dead, but now with the Transcendence rolling in from Kariv, he can try to keep everybody else topped up. Late Young uses that self-destruct. Will remech to buy a little bit more time for the rest of the team to rejoin. With the Discord Orb in onto the mech. It's not going to last too long, you would expect. That being said, he is still very much intact, just mitigating as much damage as he possibly can with this D-Matrix. He stays in.
What's going on? What is
Gonna be
going
dead.
on?
Karif gets picked off, and no, this is not going to be a push through. Suddenly, this could just be yet another point behold right in front of our very eyes. 2 series in a row.
10 seconds. 10 seconds. There's like nothing to use here. I mean, they had a Transcendence from Kareem. Use Transcendence right at the end. I mean, that should have been the game-winning button. They had so many more ultimates. They had so many more plays. It was just Valkyrie. That was all that Chengdu had on the defense, and now it should be a point behold.
Yeah, now they have so much to work with. The Nano Boost nearly there. The minefield just to buy some space. Self-destruct out. Krong punish. Monk will fall. Choice A1 gets into the back line, finds that melee
Lane's
hit.
coming.
Flashbang out, but Eileen will fall. Just too much peel here. Trying to keep Gaga protected. He's just going to go into the mines, but now rally rolling from Mondo. He's going to try to survive. Jinmu dives down on top of him, zones him away from the cart, gets the finishing blow. Get it out of the fight, and OT starting to plummet very quickly, and that will be it. It seemed like the Charge absolutely should have had that push into point B, but great perseverance, great time buying by Lei Young in particular, just keeping himself up, using that D-Matrix perfectly, keeps him in the fight.
Lei Young also, by the way, got a frag onto Eileen, so not only did he delay, but I think he got the most important kill, because the main damage dealer for a long time now clearly has been Eileen on this Hangzhou. They took him out nice and early, or at least in an important phase of that last B fight. And beyond that as well, you saw this very almost kind of staggered attempt at a defense, trying to hold on to B. It looked like Chengdu were just trying to pull more ultimates out of Charge and saying, okay, well, we got the ultimates, we can let it go now. But then they started turning it around. It starts with, I believe, a Nano onto Jinmu. They had no one else in Nano. Gaga rolls through, tries to delay the payload, dies almost instantly. I thought a Nano to Gaga would be decent. The Nano Jinmu, he's got nothing to work with. He's a fresh Genji, finds 1 kill to Eileen initially, so that's the first trade, but then he dies. So you lose the Nano. It costs you the Nano just to get 1 kill to Eileen, which, the way Eileen's been playing, could possibly be worth it. Beyond that, though, it's just Nisha and a Valkyrie. It is just Nisha and a Valkyrie with like 2 people there, and they just have to attempt to make touches happen. Charge have a Pulse available, they have Trance, which was always, I think, in those situations, a potential game-winning button. You just press the Trance button and you just... Chengdu shouldn't be able to fight you in that situation. It does cost you an ultimate, and I'm thinking probably makes Charge's C attack a little bit worse because they have to spend more, but then they don't get past B at all, and they just start getting fragged, and Chengdu clutch up massively.
Yeah, really, really great hold, but now they need to push through. See if they can get it done. Jinmu straight back onto the Pharah as anticipated. They're just going to be looking for some hack targets. And Krong is likely going to be a pretty prime one. And Krong or Rio, both high value, just to let those rockets fly through.
You'll notice, by the way, that Jinmu is permanently discorded. If you look, pay attention to the HUD, there will never be discorded anybody else for good reason, as he cops a big lot to the face. So, and that's going to happen for the rest of this defense and attack on both sides, I assume. So, who's going to get the ultimate? Choi and Jinmu are fairly close at this stage. It's 1 minute gone. Gaga. That's a catch.
I was going to say, unless Gaga's rolling right up into their faces, maybe you'll see a Discord Orb then, and yeah, it does end up costing him. Jinmu does find Karif, however, making it a 1-for-1, a support for a tank. Everybody now zoned off into the side towards Snacks Ramus, as you can see, Eileen trying to break things open a little bit, trying to get Jinmu out of the sky, but he manages to stay safe and stay in the fight. Choice A1 picked off. A little bit of an extended bout with Monk. Anna will get the better of him. Sleeve just gets a hack. Crashing in, tries to build up a massive amount here. Eileen, Storm Arrows yet again. Will get a headshot on the Jinmu. Gets that elimination, but can they stop a res from potentially coming in? Seems like the answer is going to be no. Jinmu straight back into the fray. Karib now going to be eliminated. This Late Young dives forward, and they just start ripping Rio to shreds. That's point A in the bags here for Chengdu Hunters, and they're going to have so much time to work with.
Yeah, Hunters just slowly grind out the charge. This time Jinmu doesn't really die to Eileen. Yeah, he did die to end, but the damage was done. He already killed Karif. Mandu gets solo fragged by Leave as well. Like, that was a beautiful hack, and then just tracks him through as Mandu is trying to leave, so they prevent any rallies, any other support from coming on through. And even though Eileen gets 1 frag, I mean, it doesn't matter. The rest of the team's already gone. And now you look at ultimates. Dragon Strike will come on through to slow things down. I don't think Hunters will care about that. They'll dodge the Dragons, and they'll have the rest of the ultimates available.
Nisha making me be a little bit concerned there for just a moment. Fell down below half HP to the Dragon Strike, but still able to drift around and keep himself safe. Eileen trying to scout as best as possible. Comes over the top. Storm Arrows are out. Jinmu just dips way the hell back.
Oh my God,
yeah, I know how this story ends, but Monk capitalizes on the opportunity, manages to get that elimination. Obviously, no mercy is available here for the side of the Guangzhou Charge. No mercy is being shown by the Chengdu Hunters. Jinmu waiting to get into a position, tries to jump away, gets halted back in, but Rio will fall in the meantime as
Kareem's
continues to out-pressure. And yeah, they're looking for Kareem, and they will find him. This time he does manage to hold on to that Transcendence, doesn't use it in a panic, but it might not matter because the card is getting so damn close to point B.
And they need this chance to counter the EMP. It's 6 ultimates online for the Chengdu Hunters. The Valkyrie is just going to fade away now, but it's still more ultimates than the Charge have. Eileen's in trouble. If they lose Eileen, this could be it.
They rally just to try to keep him in the fight. Drop down comes in. They're looking for that direct hit. They don't manage to find it. Jinmu going to be picked off. It's a great self-destruct from Krong there on the cart. Seems like they're not really prepared for it. And Nisha, he says, yep, you caught me red-handed. Take me away, Coppers. Sent back to the spawn room, and that is finally going to be some stability found for the side of the Charge.
Yes, Constable, it's true. I am guilty as charged. Take me away. Back to the spawn room. As, okay, that's going to be a good survival there. Eileen gets pocketed pretty hard. I mean, the rally comes through. You do have to pocket Eileen here. Eileen literally is the raid boss for Charge. If Eileen goes down, it's bad news for the Hunters. And you can see the Hunters are very specifically focusing on Eileen. Or I guess they can get a free pick on towards Rio. Maybe. Solo EMP.
Is not dead. Good peel comes in. Mandu actually keeps Karim alive, so that EMP from Leaf doesn't find anything. I mean, now they don't have that to couple in with a barrage. Jinmu jumping up over the top. The Transcendence instantly comes in. Dragon Strike going to be let loose by Eileen, looking for a pick. Won't be able to find one, but Monk and Jinmu both going to fall. Nisha will bring the Pharah back into the fight, but now the Baby Diva gets eliminated, and Jinmu is just going to have to try to exit. Chengdu Hunters, again, being staved off. Barrage, however, going to be dropped in. Jinmu finds an opportunity back over at main. Kills off Rio and choice they want, and suddenly they're right back into this push.
I mean, you say, you know, Kareem had good peel there, but really no one from Hunters even went on top of him. It was just like Leave 1v1 versus Kareem and the rest of the team, and the EMP being gone is such a huge deal. Yeah, Jinmu did get a double kill on their barrage. They did a little bit more than that now, and Jinmu's on low HP. Survives, barely.
Does manage to stay in this fight. Rio as well, sliver of HP working right now, and there's not a lot of burst healing for him. Kareem under some pressure off screen. He's going to top back up. Pile driver finds Monk, he falls low. Instant pocket healing comes in from Nisha. Monk gets stunned up for just a moment by the flashbang, but they don't manage to capitalize. They don't get a headshot flying in. Pulse Bomb will find the enemy Ana, but is that going to be good enough for any kind of stability? I think not, because right now Jinmu is just continuing to rain down, to pummel them with the rockets. The Chengdu Hunters have bought enough space to finally push this cart through. It was getting a little bit dicey for a moment. It seemed like maybe we would actually have yet another successful hold come through, and this time the Charge would be able to take the map, but it does not happen. The Chengdu Hunters persevere, and they will establish a lead yet again.
Yeah, it was looking like it was fairly contentious. I will say, though, Chengdu held tempo control, and they held the lead as far as Ultimate Charge came towards the end there as well. So, to me, it wasn't looking great for the Charge. You need Eileen to have another pop-off moment. Comes back on the McCree of all heroes, when honestly his Hangzhou was doing way more work. And Charge just couldn't quite find. I think the supports were getting farmed pretty hard here. So Jinmu was looking very hard at Kareev the entire time. He's like, maybe I can't quite get Eileen, but Kareev's a great target. The rest of the team were definitely focusing Eileen a lot harder that time as well. And Rio, more than a few times, got caught by a sleep dart by Monk and stuff like that as well. So Charge, far too many of these fights down 5 versus 6, and they couldn't trade effectively.
Yeah, well, very well done, but again, extremely hard fought. Not having an easy time of it here, the Chengdu Hunters, after that first map, so certainly is not over yet. They are now at match point. One more will close out the series in their favor, but the Guangzhou Charge have shown that they can persevere, they can contend with them, so maybe this will go the distance after all. We'll find out when we come back for Nepal.
Nerf this! Rally power forward barrier! Activated!
Alrighty, we are back. The scoreline right now, 2-1, but it doesn't tell the whole story because there is a draw hidden there in between the lines. Temple of Anubis just kind of sneaking away. So we are getting ready to go into our 5th and still potentially final map as the Chengdu Hunters find themselves at match point. But the question is, do we see a comeback here, a rallying cry for the Guangzhou Charge to take us into a map 6?
Part of the problem there for Blizzard World was that in the POV of the Guangzhou Charge is they never got to the C point. If you go to C, that's when I think Chengdu Hunters, especially the comps they are running, namely the Pharmacy, get weakened quite considerably. You're not going to see Jinmu play the Fire there. Again, my prediction would have been that they would have gone towards Genji, would have gone towards Nanoblade, and who knows what happens, because Nanoblade is pretty 50-50. If Charge wanted to win Blizzard World, they needed their own attack to make sure it gets to C, so that's why that B-hold that Chengdu achieved, and why they threw everything at B-hold, knowing it was going to be the most important point, was so good from Chengdu, and unfortunately so disappointing from the Charge. So that one fight and that one contest right there, I think decided the whole map, as we now look towards the next map of Temple of Anubis. There are going to be some good opportunities for Orisa again, but there will be plenty more opportunities for Ball also, which is good for both teams,
Yeah, for sure. I mean, this very much just continues to show that we have map types that kind of favor both of the play styles that these teams are kind of trying to, shoehorn themselves into, and as well as, what we're seeing predominantly across the league overall. So, we fully anticipated it's still just going to be Gaga rolling out with that Wrecking Ball. But, I mean, man, Eileen and Choi Se-Wan, they both have absolutely had their moments. Eileen especially with this Hangzhou, and he can definitely still stick with it here going into Nepal. So, there's a very strong percentage chance that this does end up going to a map 6.
I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, I think this is a fair shot for Charge, but I don't know how long the Hangzhou is going to work, because I think the Hangzhou has been good. But if you remember Awakes, I'm pretty sure Eileen played McCree, or he'll play the Sombra, and at this point, he's easily had the most success on the Hangzhou, and the more I think about it, I'm like, okay, it might not make as much sense composition-wise, but God, the guy's just, he's just on fire on that hero. So if someone's really on a bit of a heater on a specific hero, even if it doesn't quite work in theory, you should probably still play it. And so if Eileen can still hit the shots that he's currently hitting on both Jinmu and Nisha, I mean, that's the only way I see Charge getting a one over, because that's the one area that Charge have been consistently outperforming. And the other areas, I think Chengdu have been better. But, dude, if there's a way for Charge to win today, it's on the back of Eileen.
Yeah, it's kind of like when you're, doing math homework when you're, like in high school or middle school or whatever, and your teacher teaches you, like, the specific way that you're supposed to do it by the books, but you find some other, like, kind of roundabout way that is a little bit easier for yourself, and you still come up with the same, you still come up with the same answer, but the teacher's like, the answer's correct, but you're not doing it the way that I would like you to do it. That's kind of Eileen with the Hangzhou right now. So he's getting it done. He's finding the results for the most part. But yeah, we'll have to find out if he's going to ace the test as we do get ready to go into this map. I mean, Guangzhou Charge.
What you're saying,
like we said, it's been a rough season. If they could take this win right here, that'd be a really big boon for them, because every single player has had some great moments, for them throughout this series.
Yeah, what you're saying is, Eileen, I need to see you working, and then what he does, he just draws out a flowchart. Like, I got there at the end, I just had to do it by trial and error. So that's the Charge way. That's
how I made it through high school and college.
But guys, the exam is today, so there's no time to learn the correct way. You're literally sitting the exam right now. You're in the middle of the exam.
Yep,
and
phones away.
It's been a little hit or miss. You might come out the other end of it. I'll give you a passing grade, but. First, you have to pass, otherwise it's going to be a big F for Guangzhou Charge's first match of this 4th and final tournament stage of the year before we head into playoffs. And I got to say, playoffs for the APAC and Eastern Division specifically are very brutal in terms of the cutoff. You need to be in basically the top 5 out of 8 teams. Top 2 go directly to Texas, and then the next 3 teams will be in play-ins, which means the bottom 3 teams are eliminated. And guess what? Charge is one of the bottom 3 teams right now, so they got to pick up any game they can, and this would be a great start for them.
Yep, absolutely. I mean, take down one of the squads that was, a representative, air quotes, in Hawaii. Very, very nice for them after a fairly rough season. So I say, Juan, let's go over to the far. I mean, we're talking about how rare it has been for them to be playing far at all on the side of the Charge, but they're showing it right now. Gaga, however, going to be the first one to be taken out. Karif nailing him with that Bionade, gets the killing blow, points unlocked. far. Just going to be playing on the ground for now as Kariv desperately would love to get some heals, but knows that pharmacy is going to take priority. Tries to stay in the fight here, but Rio now going to be melted, so we might just be seeing a very fast flip. Already onto the point right now are the Chengdu Hunters. Can the Guangzhou Charge reaggress? The answer is no, and it's only going to be 9% before the rug gets pulled out from beneath them.
Hack on Mandu as well, that could be pretty deadly so far, surviving this tirade. And really what it comes down to, if you're like, well, how do these points just get flipped so quickly? It just came down to the fact that both balls die, Rio dies, and then suddenly Chengdu back in the lead here. Choice of one can't get much done on this Nano, trying to out-duel in the skies. Now the Nano's gone, both Annas are dead.
Direct hit almost gets that second follow-up shot. Jinmu would have taken him out and tried to force a res and maybe even have that punished. Look back, taking the lead yet again here are the Guangzhou Charge, but maybe not for long as the Chengdu Hunters is still on the point. They almost have to flip back into their favor. Krong going to be demech now. They don't have too much to try to mitigate this damage that's going to be coming through. Pile driver down. Rio just trying to play the point here and keep them in contention of this. Nisha getting up close and personal. Draws out the pistol, helps get a kill. Mandu now going to fall. That's Kariv gone as well, so no supports in the fight. Chengdu Hunters retake the point, and we're just going to continue trading blows, it seems.
This is what you need to see Eileen do as well, because, okay, we saw where Eileen was. He was on the point, he got a hack on the Gaga, but what about, where's Leave? Leave got a hack onto Choi Se-hwan, their powers combined, got a kill onto Choi Se-hwan. He's got Jinmu down, there should be a res. She's got that in play.
Alright, yeah, res and then straight into the pocket. Smoking the fight long enough. Barrage going to be dropped in. Fairly high elevation here from Jinmu, but still does find Choi Se-hwan. Can't quite get the break on a Krong's mech, which would have been the nice O-Cherry on top, but that's an even better one. That's going to be the sprinkles there as Amandu will fall. Krong holds on to the mech for a little bit longer, but Kariv will die as they just continue to find these extended pickoffs, just buying more and more time as the Guangzhou Charge consistently have to reset.
And eventually, Charge will have to be the ones to pull the trigger here and play the EMP. I think they would love it if Leave maybe goes first, but Hunters don't need it. Chengdu can just hold the EMP because they constantly get pickoffs anyway. They find Sleep Dust, they find manual hacks. Jinmu gets a frag as well, and they have these 6v5. I mean, they nano, but Rio's instantly dead.
Choi Se-hwan, he does get the better of Jinmu. I mean, it's pressure alleviated. The barrage is going to be good. Drops in, finds one. EMP will cancel the rest of it. And then they just push forward. They finish him off. Pharmacy eliminated. Eileen hacked, can't EMP. And now with just 12% left to go for this closeout, it's all coming down to Rio and Krong to try to buy time, to try to buy some space. But they're playing into the exact same ultimates. Minefield and self-destruct available for both sides.
Time's running out here, 99% here. The Eileen EMP has to be used sooner rather than later. It's the only way they can really win this now. Lines on point from both teams. They're just losing members at 6v5.
Krong is going to be taken out there. EMP going to be used. Oh my god, he does not find anything. EMP gets absolutely nothing. Self-destruct used on the point. Eileen buys as much time as he possibly can before translocating away, but the supports are dead. And it's going to be 100% to 33. It's just such a back and forth to not get above a third here. It's definitely going to be a feels bad for the Guangzhou Charge, but we'll see if they're going to be able to bounce back in this next round of the poll to try to extend it.
Pain. Pain, pain, pain. That's the word of the day. The Guangzhou Charge. As if you're wondering as well, like, what is up with the composition? Should Eileen be the one playing Fire? And you would have expected Eileen to play Fire because he's the supposed dedicated projectile player, but you know what else he is, the dedicated player over the team? The dedicated Sombra player. So Choi Se-hwan plays the Fire. The only problem is, I just haven't been impressed with Eileen Sombra, and now, unfortunately, things are happening that prove that point further. To be fair, I think Jinmu's Sombra was a bit of a meme on Temple Anubis as well, so Leave has had the best Sombra between both teams today, and I don't think he's particularly well known for the Sombra, despite being a hyperflex player that plays everything. Sombra would not be in his S-tier heroes, or maybe even his A-tier heroes place. He's getting it done, definitely more so than Eileen.
Give that one a B+ to stick with the schooling references. Choi Se-hwan just trying to find some targets here. Hasn't got too much, but Eileen will take out Leave. It's a very solid start, but Kariv is just going to be sent sailing over the side of the mountaintop. Nice little pick off there from Gaga. He's actually still screaming. Still hear the Ana.
Because he's got to go down a Sanctum. You got to go down from Village to Shrine to Sanctum. You got to.
Well, upon Rio arriving,
tall.
Kariv will find Jinmu. Taking a little bit of a brief nap there was Rio, but he gets awoken. And Krong left on for just a moment, is almost pistol his way back into the mech. Certainly doesn't want to die now at this point. Dive in onto Mondu, looks for the kill, but Young doesn't want to overextend, so just retreats back over, plays in with the team. They say, you know what, we don't have to really push out far at all. We've got control of the point, let's just wait until they come to us.
Just realized it actually makes more sense for Sanctum to be upper and the village to be lower, so maybe he's traveling down to the village, but that's neither here or there as Jinmu with the Nano looking for the one shot. As the reason why they're going for these dogfights is if you have Nano Boost and damage boost from Mercy, you one shot 200 HP hero. So he's looking for that. Doesn't quite get the hit, but they will get Rio anyway.
Jinmu finding Kareev, making that a trade out on the Anas. Hack on the choice they want, a bit of an awkward position, is grounded. And Jinmu will manage to pursue far enough forward to find that kill. Barrage almost online for him. Choice they want lagging a little bit further behind. The X factor here, though, could be this EMP from Eileen if he can actually nail it this time.
I will say the one player I've been super impressed with today is Late Young. Even on this map, on the last map, on every map so far, he's been very active in kills. Very great at peeling for Jinmu, assisting in damage as well. Choi, a bit of a hurt, and this is where you need to see Eileen redeem himself with the EMPs. Sees Translocator. It's going to make Lee's job a little bit more difficult.
Oh, very nice direct hit. Looks for the follow-up. Playing well back away from the ledge there is Jinmu. Now gets hacked. The EMP is going to be great. Eileen sends him toppling off the side of the map. Valkyrie has to be used by Nisha just to go ahead and recover. Point, however, still not being flipped. Self-destruct's thrown well over into the back line there by Late Young for a straight pick. Won't manage to find one. Guangzhou Charge have not gotten this flip through yet. It's about to be 99%. Late Young, however, does fall. Bionade goes in. Flips on the two. Looking pretty decent. They don't get any kills on the back end of it. Nano's going to be used just to try to keep Gaga alive. The Bionade keeps him low HP, and the Barrage will finish him off. Rio with the Minefield finds Nisha as well. With those 3 picks, making it a 4th here on the back end. The flip will finally come in, but time is definitely on the side of the Hunters.
Best part about that for Charge is that Leave also used the EMP, so I think, Hunters were thinking about how they can maybe be more competitive in that fight. Unfortunately, Leave will go down and the EMP won't find a lot of success. I believe it only got Mandu anyway, or certainly didn't get enough to get them a fight. So 0 to 99 here. Thank God we're on the Himalayas because it is going to be a mountain to climb. It does feel like they'll try to get back in. So still will be Sanctum. Nano needs a catch.
Of course they want. He says, I just need one more rocket, and Jinmu gets pinned to the wall in the perfect spot for him to capitalize. And there's just no way for Nisha to try to get pushed forward there. He's got to pull back. He and Monk both heading for the hills. They push forward, though. They get in on top of him, just surrounding them as best as possible. But a little bit of peel there from Late Young. They won't be able to finish him.
Okay, so turns out Monk will get away, and kind of hilariously there as well. What you see is Choice F1 drop a concussive blast as he conks Monk off the map. He's going to come, not off the map, but off the high ground. And then finally, Rio comes in and swings him back on. So Rio just saves Monk's life. So it's a bit of a 5v7 going on here.
Sometimes you make mistakes. Sometimes you can't get away fast enough. Jinmu again trying to get picked off. They're playing around him more intelligently here now on the side of the Guangzhou Charge. Sleep Dart and the Bionade out onto Gaga. They're pushing forward. They're looking for this finish on the Wrecking Ball. Oh, he's just single-digit HP, and he barely makes it out. You see Krong just walking into the mines. He's just farming this Nano for Kareev. Says, go ahead, top me up. Rockets continue to come down.
Yeah, this will be a lost fight. I think this should be a lost fight for the Chengdu Hunters. I mean, they're going to wait for a few respawners. Eileen down. Typically, would be go till your Late Young wants to go in for sure.
They don't have the EMP, and they can't couple it with the Barrage here for this fight, so it would be a decent enough opportunity potentially, but now the Barrage is going to be dropped in by Choice A1. Manages to find Late Young. Nisha, however, pistols him down. Res comes in from Mondu. Nisha puts Late Young back into the fight. EMP does get used.
No mech.
Clips onto Nisha. As you say, no mech is there. The Young will fall. Flip comes in, however, for the Chengdu Hunters, and now Guangzhou Charge have to be all in on at this point. The EMP comes in from Leave. It manages to find 3. Krong's going to be the first one eliminated. Pulse bomb from Jinmu, yeah, is thrown out. It took me a second there. I didn't realize he swapped over to the Tracer. Moves that out. Doesn't manage to find too much. Choice A1 and Mondu both now eliminated. They are losing members. Swing through comes in right at the last second for Rio to try to extend this contention of the point, but he is hacked, he is farmed, and the OT will plummet down. And it was looking great for a while. The latter half of this map, after letting it hit 99%, was great for the Guangzhou Charge. It seemed like they were going to be able to get it done to take us to Sanctum, but the Chengdu Hunters, they close it out and they take this series in the end.
I think there was a bit of unluckiness for the Charge because Sanctum would have been their best sub map, but the nature of control maps also is you still have to win 2 out of the 3 of them. So if they were going to win Sanctum, they still need to win one of Village or Shrine. And sadly, they're not going to get either of them. Shrine did start to look like a bit of a turnaround there. It just ended up not being quite enough. Certainly not at the right time. Leave with a double kill towards the end there. The EMPs have been neither here or there. Some have been reasonable. Some have been complete just meltdowns. Nothing at all. But Leave's double kill just in the neutral there completely sealed the deal there for the side of the Chengdu Hunters. Even Monk, by the way, I mean, we caught the pulse bomb, but Monk also dropped in a nano boost for Jinmu. So Jinmu got a solo frag off that with a nano boost. So even that ended up finding value in Chengdu Hunters, outvaluing Guangzhou Charge, outskilling them, and potentially booming them out of any contention of going to playoffs. It's not that dire yet, but it does reduce the chances of Charge breaking away from the bottom 3.
Yeah, I mean, every single loss is just, going to be adding up. It's just going to be hurting you further and further. So you can't really afford to suffer any of these. But rough tidings for the Guangzhou Charge, but also, a glimmer of hope, I guess. It's kind of like opening Pandora's box. It's all the evil in the world, but then there is hope in there. This was a very good performance. I think one of the better performances that we've seen from them, in the last little while, at least since their last victory that they had. So they're showing that they still very much can contend with some of the top teams in the region. But unfortunately, it's just not good enough to get them across the line. We'll take a look at our player of the match, though, and it should not come as too much of a surprise that it's going to be Jinmu walking away with it this time around. I mean, from the outset, playing the Pharah, it was just absolutely gorgeous from him. Some, questionable moments in between, but for the most part, it was looking good.
I hope we get to see the moment here, but there was a really cute barrage he did on Blizzard. I'll tell you if we do see it, but overall, I think Jinmu had a great map, a great series, this map in particular. He completely destroyed the Charge. I think he only started to really find difficulty when Eileen was hitting some incredible shots in Hangzhou from map 2 onwards. Yeah, even then, Charge being the they part here kind of let go of the gas pedal. They took the foot a little when Eileen was no longer on the Hangzhou. You could just see it from Jinmu's POV. The pressure just wasn't there. Okay, Choi's going to try and do something on the Pharah, but Jinmu's Pharah is just too good. He's not going to lose to Choi. So I think this could be it here. Okay, he's going to get the solo kill to Eileen. There will be a barrage right at this gateway. And if he does this barrage here, what he ends up doing is he will then look to the ground, spray himself with his own barrage rockets as he's going for the spray on the floor. Because what pro players do is they get a kill, they spray the floor, and that's just the thing they do. Except Jinmu was barraging while he's doing that, so he just ate a bunch of damage. And that's kind of bad, but also funny. Here it is right now, so watch this. And then, boom, he's going to spray the floor just for a spray, right? And that is maybe the most Giga Chad thing I've ever seen Jinmu do, because he's just that cool.
He's just offering up a little bit of an added opportunity for maybe to have the enemy team trade him out. A little bit of a handicap perhaps, but they don't manage to find it.
Literally damages himself just to get a spray down. I appreciate that.
Wow.
I see that.
Okay, well, 107 rocket direct hits.
Just a few.
That seems pretty
with a direct
good.
accuracy of 0. So apparently did it. It's that must be a mistake, obviously.
Yeah,
30,000 damage, 52 elims. Just general Pharah gameplay.
Yeah, a little bit of maybe a slight little mess up with the stats engine there with the accuracy, but I mean, 107 direct hits. Maybe that means that he was those are he never got a direct hit that he was intentionally going for, and they were all just happenstance. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe we've gotten so in depth with the stats that we could determine intent.
So were they indirect direct hits? Like he indirectly got a direct hit, so.
Yeah, exactly. Indirect direct hits. Perfect. That's definitely the best way to do it. That will never confuse anybody at all. But you guys know what time it is. It's time to round out our evening with our game break so we can kind of go back and reminisce over everything that's happened here this evening. But I do have a question that I want to pose to you, Avril, and get your thoughts on this. And it's, what do the Guangzhou Charge really need to focus on improving it the most? What would you say is like the one centric thing to try to get them back into the driver's seat in their future series?
Yeah, I mean, they've been close. I just want to point out, because you did say earlier that this was a reasonable series from the Guangzhou Charge, and they were close, but I have to remind everyone as well, in the Summer Showdown, I think one of their last games in the Summer Showdown qualifiers, they had a 2-3 match versus the Seoul Dynasty, where Seoul Dynasty reversed swept. To me, that should have been a clear-cut win for the Charge. So it's not like Charge were capable of having close games. I would argue they've had plenty of close games. They've even had some good wins in it. They beat the New York Excelsior when New York were on the upturn. A 3-2 victory when New York is starting to look really good. So Charge have always been a capable team. I think they do have some potential holes in versatility, because I mean they've had to drop Mike Ellie through a two-ways and we'll play him again. Ji-Hoon is just never going to see playtime again apparently either, which means they are one of the teams now that pretty much just have 6 players because they're never using their bench at all. I don't even know if using their bench will really help them. I would like to imagine Ji-Hoon has a fantastic ball. He's a ball main, he's a ball-specific player, he's a ball specialist, but we'll just never know if he's better than Rio. That answer lies within the internal scrims or just the scrims of Guangzhou Charge. They know the answer to that question. We won't. Even if Ji-Hoon plays, I don't know if that's enough to save them. There are good individual pieces. Look across the board. Krong, great play. I believe was he an MVP candidate last year? He was just good. He was just incredibly good. Grieve has had great moments here. You'll say his Zen is not as good as his Ana. I would agree. Eileen is probably individually the most impressive player at this exact moment in time. Early in the year, what I said was Choi Se-Hwan. So they have good pieces, but it just seems like, could be miscommunication. Maybe it's the fact that they're running mixed comms, but other teams run mixed comms and they seem to do fine, so that doesn't sell it as hard for me either. I don't know. It's tough to nail down the Guangzhou Charge because they have a lot of things that are nearly there, and then that last hurdle, that last 100 meters in the sprint, that's when I feel like they get too tired, and unfortunately they have to take a break and everyone else overtakes them. And obviously beyond that, there's a bunch of coordination stuff in there as well, where there's just mishaps, they're slow to decide. I remember previous games we casted Guangzhou Charge where I just went off at them by saying that they were just like the slowest team I'd ever seen. I think they were not as slow as that today, but they're still being out-tempoed heavily by the Chengdu Hunters, and that's going to be an area that Guangzhou still need to work on among many areas they need to work on.
Yeah, I mean, it was a slightly different look, and maybe in some cases a better one, because, like you said, this is usually a team that can't really close. They can't get across that finish line. So they didn't, normally we see them have that hot start, and then it kind of falls apart as it goes later on in the series. This was them having a very cold start, absolutely frozen solid from them. But then they managed to kind of thaw it out. They managed to get back in and turn this into a series. So I think that is some forward progression here from the side of the Guangzhou Charge. Whether or not it's in time for them to try and have any sort of run at the playoffs, that is the big question, but only the future will tell. That's going to do it from us, though, here tonight, guys. 3 series in the bag. Of course, North American games are going to be coming up in just, I say a few hours, several hours from now, so make sure you tune into those. And otherwise, myself and Avril, Vicky, Kitty, and Jaws will see you back here, same place, same time tomorrow for some more APAC action.